You wake up and there's something on the floor. A mouse, or a bird, or a single very confused beetle still alive. And your cat is just sitting there watching you, tail flicking, eyes wide, proud. Most people laugh it off as a creepy little habit. Some people are horrified. Almost no one stops to ask the real question. Why does a small, well-fed predator, surrounded by warmth and food, keep dragging dead animals to the foot of your bed? Not because it's hungry, not because it's confused, and not, despite what the internet loves to say, because it thinks you're a terrible hunter who needs training. The truth is stranger, older, and far more tender than that. Because when a cat brings you a gift, it isn't really a gift in the way humans think of one. It's a message written in a language we forgot how to read about 10,000 years ago when we first let these little hunters sleep by our fires. To understand what your cat is actually saying, you have to forget almost everything you know about pets. You have to look at your cat the way another cat would. And once you do that, the dead mouse on the carpet starts to mean something completely different. Let's start with the obvious part. Cats are predators, not cute predators, not sometimes predators. They are one of the most efficient small hunters on the planet, and almost every behavior in their body is wired around the hunt. Stalking, pouncing, the little chattering sound at the window, the way their pupils blow wide when they spot a moving string. All of it is hunting software running in the background of a tiny fluffy machine. And here's the part most people miss. The hunt isn't just about food. For a cat, hunting is also play, exercise, problem solving, and emotional regulation all rolled into one. That's why a cat with a full bowl will still chase a fly across the kitchen at 3 in the morning. The drive to hunt and the drive to eat are two different circuits in the brain. So when a cat catches something, it isn't always about hunger. It's about completing a cycle that started the moment it spotted movement. Catch, carry, present, done. But why present it to you? To answer that, we have to leave the living room and go back to the wild ancestors of the house cat, the African wildcat, a small solitary hunter that prowled grasslands long before humans had agriculture. These wild cats lived alone, but mothers raised kittens. And mother cats did something fascinating with their young. When kittens are old enough to eat solid food but too young to hunt, the mother brings prey back to the den. At first, she brings it dead so the kittens can eat. Then as they grow, she brings prey back injured but still moving so the kittens can practice killing it. She is teaching them, step by step, how to be a cat. This is one of the earliest known forms of teaching in the animal kingdom, where a parent deliberately adjusts a task to match a learner's skill. Researchers studying domestic and wild cats observed this same pattern again and again. The dead prey on your floor is part of that ancient lesson plan. Now think about your house cat, especially if it's a female, especially if it's been spayed. The hormonal and behavioral pathways for mothering don't just vanish, they get redirected. And the closest thing your cat has to a clumsy, hairless kitten that clearly cannot hunt for itself is you. You are large, you are warm, you sleep too much, you never bring home prey. From your cat's point of view, you are doing a terrible job at being a cat. So sometimes, in its own quiet, instinct-driven way, it tries to help. That's one piece of the puzzle, but it's not the whole story. Because male cats do it too. Kittens do it. Cats who have never had babies do it. Even cats who don't actually like other cats will sometimes carry prey home to their humans. So the mother teaching kittens explanation is real, but it's only part of a much bigger picture. The deeper reason has to do with something cats almost never get credit for: social intelligence. For a long time, people believed cats were aloof loners who tolerated humans for food. Recent research has steadily dismantled that idea. Studies on attachment in cats have shown that many house cats form secure bonds with their owners, similar in some ways to the bonds dogs and even human infants form with caregivers. Cats recognize our voices. They respond to their names even when they pretend they don't. They watch our faces for emotional cues. They adjust their behavior based on our mood. In other words, your cat knows you, specifically you. Not just the human who fills the bowl, but you, the individual, the one whose footsteps sound different on the stairs. And in the strange little social world of a domestic cat, bringing prey to a trusted member of the group is one of the most meaningful things it can do. It's a quick question for you while we're here. What's the strangest gift your cat has ever brought you? A leaf? A sock? Something you'd rather not name? Drop it in the comments, because the variety is genuinely one of the funniest parts of living with a cat, and the stories down there are always wilder than anything I could come up with. Then stick around, because the next part is where it gets a little philosophical. Here's the thing about a hunt. It is the most concentrated, most focused, most alive thing a cat does all day. Heart pounding, senses sharp, every muscle alert. And when that hunt ends in success, the cat is left holding something that mattered, something earned, something it had to work for. Carrying that object back to a safe place is wired deep into the species. In the wild, you don't eat where you killed. You move it somewhere quieter, somewhere defensible, somewhere that feels like home. For a house cat, the safest place in the world is the place where you are. So the prey comes to your bedroom, to your shoes, to the spot just inside the front door where you'll definitely step on it barefoot. It isn't a gift in the human sense of, I bought this for you. It's closer to, I did something important, and I brought it to the place where my people are. The presentation, the waiting, the watching, the tail flick are all part of one quiet act of belonging. There is also a layer of communication we often miss. Cats, despite the stereotype, talk to humans constantly, just rarely with their mouths. A slow blink across the room, a tail wrapped around your ankle, a small thud as they jump onto your chest at 4 a.m. Carrying prey is part of that same conversation. It says, in a language older than any human one, I see you, I trust you, you are part of where I live. And for a creature that, for most of its evolutionary history, did not need anyone, that is not a small thing to say. Now, the modern version of all this gets a bit awkward, because most house cats don't have access to real prey, so the instinct has to land somewhere, and it does in some genuinely strange places. Your cat brings you a hair tie, a bottle cap, a crumpled receipt from 3 weeks ago, a single sock, always just one, never the pair. Cats have been observed carrying toys, leaves, twigs, even pieces of food from their own bowl to deposit near their owner. The prey doesn't have to be biological. The brain just needs something object-shaped, carryable, and meaningful. You may have noticed this happens more at night. That's not coincidence. Cats are crepuscular, most active at dawn and dusk, and their hunting drive peaks when the rest of the house is quiet. So they prowl. They find a target, real or imagined. They complete the loop, and they bring it to the den, which is you, sleeping peacefully, about to be very confused. There is one more layer, and it is the one I find the most beautiful. We tend to talk about domestication as something humans did to animals. We tamed them, we bred them, we shaped them. But cats are a strange case in that story. Most evidence suggests cats more or less domesticated themselves. They moved into our grain stores, hunted our rodents, and slowly decided that we were acceptable neighbors. We didn't pull them in. They walked toward us on their own terms thousands of years ago. That same independence is still there in every house cat alive today. So when your cat chooses of its own free will to carry something to you and to leave it at your feet, it is doing something its ancestors decided to do a very long time ago. It is folding you into a circle that did not originally include humans. The kitten, the mother, the den, the hunt, the careful, deliberate act of bringing something back to share. You, half asleep, stepping on a beetle in the dark, are standing inside one of the oldest rituals between our species and theirs. So the next time you find something unspeakable on your pillow, try not to scream. Try instead to picture a small wild cat 10,000 years ago, padding silently into a human camp, dropping a mouse at the edge of the firelight, and waiting to see what happens next. That moment never really ended. It just moved indoors. And your cat, in its own quiet way, is still asking the same question that ancient wildcat asked. Do you see me? Do you understand what I just did? Will you let me belong here? The gift was never really about the mouse. It was about you. If this gave you a new way to look at your cat, I'd love it if you hit that like button. It genuinely helps the channel grow. Subscribe if you want more videos exploring how animals actually think and feel, because there is so much going on behind those eyes that we are only just starting to understand. And down in the comments, tell me, what does your cat do that you've always secretly wondered about? I read them, and a lot of them turn into future videos. Next time, we're going somewhere stranger, into the question of whether your cat actually dreams about you when it sleeps. I'll see you there.